Welcome to KTVU Crime Files, not only reporting on Bay Area crime, but also offering advice for solutions.
FBI agents converged on the federal prison in Dublin today. The facility has been plagued by a number of issues, including a scandal over inmates who were sexually abused. As KTVU crime reporter Henry Lee tells us, the warden is now out of a job.
A major shakeup at the all-women's federal prison in Dublin on Monday as FBI agents swarmed the facility. KTVU has learned the warden, an associate warden, and a captain were all dismissed and that new leadership is now in place. The restructuring comes as about 20 FBI agents raided the facility. A Bureau spokeswoman confirmed those agents were at the prison conducting, quote, court-authorized law enforcement activity, but declined to elaborate. The FBI agents were at the prison for most of the day. At one point, they were seen removing at least one box of potential evidence and placing it in a minivan. The prison's been at the center of a long-running sex abuse scandal that's been documented extensively by KTVU. 8 prison workers have been charged by federal prosecutors with sexual abuse of inmates. 7 have been found guilty, including former warden Ray Garcia, who was sentenced last year to more than 5 years in federal prison for abusing 3 female inmates. Just last week, a dozen more women filed sexual abuse and retaliation lawsuits against guards at the prison, bringing the total number of lawsuits to 63. The litigation comes as the Dublin prison is now being run by its 4th administration since Garcia's departure.
I have very little faith about BOP's ability to reform this deeply troubled institution.
Kara Jansen is an attorney representing a number of victims. She says the problems here are proof there needs to be change from the outside. She says some of the administrators dismissed Monday had pledged to reform the prison.
And they all testified about how this is a different place than it was under Warden Garcia. But this looks the same to me, and I think to many of our clients.
A federal judge is considering putting a special master over the prison to administer reforms.
The court may be looking for signs that BOP is able to address this problem. I don't know that this is very comforting to the court.
The 3 administrators removed from their jobs at the prison have not been charged with any crimes in federal court. In Dublin, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
KTVU Fox 2 News at 5 starts now.
We were very, very specific. We spent a lot of time trying to suss out what, frankly, are very alarming deficiencies in the discovery that was provided to the defense at the time of trial.
Convicted killer Scott Peterson back in a Bay Area courtroom via Zoom as his attorneys with the LA Innocence Project focus in on very specific items of discovery in the old case. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Meebeck.
And I'm Julie Hayner. A San Mateo County jury convicted Peterson of killing his wife Lacey and their unborn son in 2004. That case drawing national attention.
And today, as KTVU crime reporter Henry Lee explains, Peterson's attorneys argued in court evidence from the initial case should be tested for DNA.
I see Mr. Peterson trying to unmute, so give me a thumbs up if you can see us and hear us, please.
After some technical difficulties with Zoom, convicted double murderer Scott Peterson told the judge he was fine appearing remotely from state prison.
Absolutely. Thank you, Your Honor.
Peterson, his hair in a ponytail, was back in court with attorneys with the LA Innocence Project hoping DNA testing of evidence will undo his convictions for killing his pregnant wife Lacey and their unborn son Connor back in 2002. Their bodies washed ashore in Richmond. Although the family lived in Modesto, the trial was moved to Redwood City because of extensive publicity. On Tuesday, San Mateo County Judge Elizabeth Hill questioned why Stanislaus County prosecutors needed more time to hand over evidence in the case.
A lot of these items have been raised and litigated as part of the initial appeal.
David Harris, one of the original trial prosecutors, said Peterson had raised many of the same issues before, including during an unsuccessful attempt to get a new trial in 2022.
There's a lot of back and forth from the record, and there is going to be a large amount of reading for both sides.
Mr. Peterson has been waiting 20 years to find some of these police reports and audio recordings and video recordings that should have been provided.
Paula Mitchell, director of the LA Innocence Project, says her client never got key evidence, even during his original trial.
I don't think that the nature of the requests, it's not a fishing expedition. They're very precise, they're very specific, and we believe that they are probably very easily accessible.
The judge set future court dates over the next few months. Peterson's sister-in-law, Janie, and her husband, Joe, attended the hearing, but declined to speak afterwards.
This is it for him. If they don't find anything, nobody else can do anything about this.
KTVU legal analyst Michael Cardoza says Peterson's previous lawyers raised concerns over juror misconduct and constitutional violations. This time, he says the defense has a different tack.
This is digging into the evidence. What did the police do? Did they look at all the evidence? Did they turn away from something that perchance was exculpatory?
Peterson was originally sentenced to death, which was set aside by the state Supreme Court because of a juror issue. He's now serving life in prison without parole. Scott Peterson is now 51 years old. He indicated he plans to attend all future court hearings via Zoom from Mule Creek State Prison in Amador County. In Redwood City, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Palo Alto police detectives are searching for the person responsible for the city's first homicide of the year. As KTVU's Jesse Gary reports, up until this killing, the city has seen a decrease in violent crime.
For 1 year, East Palo Alto has been free of sidewalk memorials honoring murder victims. Near the corner of University and Bell, the first such memorial for 2024. What happened that night?
I can't really explain too much. I was over there getting something to eat off of the table over there. I looked over here and some guys hit the other guy.
This man, who doesn't want his identity revealed, says he saw 2 men get stabbed last month. Surveillance video released by police shows a fight on the corner around 9 o'clock at night, February 8th. An unidentified suspect stabs one man who's been identified as Frank Finney. The second victim wasn't seriously hurt. The suspect then gets in a white SUV and leaves the scene. Finney was being treated at a nearby hospital for his injuries, but died last Saturday.
Frank was cool. He was humble, quiet. He looked out for people. He was my OG partner.
The homicide in February breaks a streak of 12 months with no murders in this city. And the year before that, 2022, there were 5 homicides, and all those cases have been solved. Investigators now hoping the public will help them solve this latest case.
I don't believe this is going to start a trend because we do have officers actively going out there and again building that community trust, that community policing, and we're actively stopping and talking to subjects out there.
Detectives believe finding the white SUV that left the scene will yield clues and possibly a suspect, but they don't have a plate number or vehicle make or model. So they're asking residents to call if they have information.
I hope they catch the suspect and serve him as justice, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Nitty's family.
In East Palo Alto, Jesse Gary, KTVU Fox 2 News.
This is KTVU Fox 2 News at 6.
We are marking this International Women's Day, but unfortunately women are often the victims of domestic violence, including here in the Bay Area.
I gave her a long talk about life and how the domestic is real, and that if a man shows that much anger towards you that young in a relationship, he's going to not only get worse.
There have been a number of homicides in the Bay Area lately that have involved domestic violence. Many of the victims are women. Good evening this Friday. I'm Christina Rendon.
And I'm Alex Savage. Just yesterday, a man was accused of killing his estranged girlfriend in Pleasanton before then taking his own life on the freeway in San Leandro. Our KTVU crime reporter Henry Lee looked into several recent cases here in the Bay Area and explains some of the similarities between them.
I talked to her. I talked to Zoe.
Casey Shanick says she saw many red flags in the rocky relationship between neighbor Zoe Rady Watts and her boyfriend and became her sounding board.
I gave her a long talk about life and how the domestic is real, and that if a man shows that much anger towards you that young in a relationship, he's going to not only get worse.
Tragically, the 25-year-old woman seen here on her Facebook page was found dead from blunt force trauma on March 1st in her boyfriend's apartment near 15th and Jackson in downtown Oakland. An autopsy showed she suffered broken ribs, lacerations, and bruises, both fresh and old. Oakland police say she had previously reported abuse by her boyfriend, 27-year-old registered sex offender Victor Friesen III. Police say Friesen gave multiple versions versions of what happened and denied ever hurting her. Alameda County prosecutors have charged Friesen with murder and domestic violence, one of a number of recent cases in the Bay Area. In San Pablo, Phuc Vo has been arrested and charged with murdering his wife and her mother. Their bodies have not been found. In Pinole, police say Jeffrey Kendall shot and killed his ex-girlfriend Brittany Ligdas with their 4-year-old son present. Thomas Plant, professor of psychology at Santa Clara University, says it can be challenging to intervene in domestic violence cases with many abusers walling off victims from support networks.
It doesn't take much to get into a situation that turns violent. And, people are more and more isolated, less and less connected to community.
Shanique is heartbroken that Rady Watts came to her for help and lost her life. She had this message for those who may be suffering from domestic abuse.
Deep down, we're only here for ourselves, and when a person loves you, the last thing they're going to do is abuse you or mentally abuse you.
If you or anyone you know is experiencing domestic violence, there is help available. I've included a link to resources on my story online at KTVU.com. Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao today said that crime is down, especially in business districts where police have walked their beats and focused efforts on car burglaries. Our crime reporter Henry Lee is here now with a closer look at the numbers. Henry.
Julie, the mayor cited Oakland police stats to support her assertions that crime is down. But one thing with crime stats, it's all in the eyes of the beholder.
Actually, the numbers are down, so I'm going to push back on that.
Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao rejecting any narrative that crime's on the rise in her city.
We're seeing that crimes and homicides are all trending down, everything.
On Mornings on 2, Tao, citing Oakland police stats, said crime in many categories over the past 3 months is down compared to the same time in previous years, especially in business districts with concentrated police foot patrols and crime suppression teams.
The robberies, the commercial burglaries, the bipping, all of that has gone down. It's trending down.
But it's also notable what the mayor didn't report. According to Oakland police stats I reviewed for the same time period, robberies are up 40% from last year, with home invasions going from 8 to 18 so far this year, a 125% increase. And stats aren't of any comfort to crime victims. At Temescal Alley, a trendy North Oakland shopping spot where burglars recently broke into 5 businesses, merchants are frustrated, with some complaining Oakland police didn't show up for hours. And when they did come, like they have in previous break-ins there, all they could do was document what happened after the fact.
We call the police so many times. The police, the only thing they do is write notes, make a report, but it's nothing happened. Nothing's being done about this.
Many merchants appreciate foot patrols, but those officers aren't there around the clock, and their visible presence could arguably push would-be criminals to target other areas.
And we most definitely don't want to discount the experiences of victims. It's, if you have been victimized, this is serious.
Magnus Lofstrom is Policy Director of Criminal Justice at the Public Policy Institute of California.
I think that perceptions might take a little while to adjust if these decreases that have been reported are sustainable.
Now, another issue that could potentially alter statistics. Some crimes go unreported, such as auto break-ins. Some victims have been hit repeatedly, don't want to jack up their insurance rates. Either way, Oakland police say they do encourage online reporting for things like that so that they can better track crime trends. Live in the newsroom, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, Henry, thank you.
Firefighters in San Jose have recently been targeted, and moving forward, the issue of security at firehouses is taking center stage. KTVU South Bay reporter Jesse Gary live tonight in San Jose with more on the story. Jesse?
Mike, after a break-in over the weekend, the front door here at Fire Station number 8 has been boarded up. The long-term fix, though, will be a new fire station number 8, 4 blocks west of where I'm standing here on Santa Clara. In the interim, the city and department brass looking at ways to make buildings like this much more secure.
We've had, that I know of, two break-ins here at this fire station.
Officials say the break-ins happened 16 months apart. The most recent took place Saturday evening as the 4-member A shift returned from a call. Someone had broken through the front door of Fire Station 8 on East Santa Clara Street, stealing personal belongings and some city equipment.
It's stressful, when you're worried about your personal property, you're worried about the security of the fire station.
San Jose police were called, and minutes later, the suspect, apparently living unhoused along Coyote Creek, was arrested.
Our police department did a great job of apprehending the alleged perpetrator, recovering some of the personal belongings that were stolen.
Station 8 is a throwback building dating back to 1949. It sits on a major thoroughfare, but also along the creek, which is dotted with unhoused encampments. The mayor says one of the solutions to such crimes is getting unhoused people into temporary and permanent housing.
We need to get people out of our creeks, off of our streets, into shelter, into treatment, and connected to other supportive services. We cannot continue on as a city that has thousands of people living outside.
A statement from the Firefighters Union says, in part, this incident highlights the need for more security at all city buildings. We should not have to worry about our homes away from home being broken into and vandalized.
Our BSS director is a deputy chief, and the department safety program manager were here yesterday taking a look, and they'll work with our public works department to implement solutions for security.
San Jose police have not said the name or the age or the location of the man who broke into this building, and they have not said what happened to the items that were not recovered. We're live in the Nagley Park section of San Jose this evening. Jesse Gary, KTVU Fox 2 News. Mike will head back up to you in Oakland.
All right, Jesse, thank you.
This is the 10 o'clock news on KTVU Fox 2.
Enough is enough. That is the message tonight as Oakland business owners threaten to stop paying taxes until the city steps in to help crack down on crime.
We should not pay taxes to the city for any service because they're not giving us service. We don't have no police officers.
A growing movement in the city of Oakland. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Meebeck.
And I'm Julie Hayner. Some small business owners are demanding action from the city as criminals continue to target their shops and restaurants. New at 10 tonight, KTVU's Amber Lee joins us now live from Oakland. And Amber, the owners are now considering to stop paying taxes until the city steps in to help.
That's right, Julie. A restaurant owner in the Diamond District is leading the charge. He and other merchants tell me they're fed up with the lack of city services. Earlier this evening, we visited several businesses that have been targeted by criminals multiple times.
Workers at Cybel's Pizza in Oakland's Diamond District say it's anything but business as usual.
We're scared of our lives now. Diamond District's not the same as back in the years that I have been working.
Surveillance video shows manager Nestor Sanchez stopping a man from reaching over the counter to grab the cash register. Sanchez fights back by pulling out a hammer. He says he was prepared since this was the second time someone came in to rob the business. Sanchez says in January, the restaurant was burglarized twice and robbed twice.
We're really struggling. Sales have dropped 20%.
Enough is enough. We're frustrated. So we're not going to pay taxes to the city until they give us what we want.
Jose Ortiz owns La Perla restaurant on the same block. He started what he hopes will be a citywide movement where business owners stop paying taxes to Oakland until they receive services, which includes police patrols and cleaner streets.
Hire a tax lawyer that he gonna be leading this group in case that the city want to come after us.
The owner of Diamond Cafe shared this surveillance video. One of 4 times he says his restaurant was burglarized. He joined Ortiz's movement.
I feel like we need to start somewhere. I mean, it's ridiculous. It seems like it's getting worse.
Mayor Shang Tao issued a written statement which says in part, since the summer of 2023, Oakland's business districts have experienced a reduction in most property crimes. Government at all levels is working for Oaklanders, and I won't stop until every Oaklander feels safe in our city.
We have an emergency in the city of Oakland.
City Council member Noel Gallo represents the Fruitvale District. He says he plans to work with the city administrator, county and state officials to see what funds are available to help small businesses.
We need to keep every small business in place. We may need to make some adjustment financially.
The manager at Cybel's says the owner is considering whether to join the tax protest.
I'm not really sure if that's going to work, but I really want security.
City Council member Janani Ramachandran represents the Diamond District. She tells me she's working for funding to provide community safety ambassadors and to form a business improvement district. Ortiz says there may be a meeting between business owners and city leaders sometime at the end of the month. Julie?
All right, Amber Lee reporting live from Oakland tonight. Amber, thank you. A burglary at an illegal marijuana grow in Hayward led to a police chase. The suspects ended up getting away after an officer crashed during the pursuit. Our crime reporter Henry Lee live now at the Hayward Police Department with more on what happened. Henry.
Yeah, that officer managed to interrupt a burglary in progress at this illegal pot grow, but ended up crashing while trying to catch up to their fleeing car. This nondescript building on West Winton Avenue in an industrial part of Hayward, police say, was home to an illegal marijuana grow that was targeted by burglars before dawn. An officer spotted the suspects taking off at about 5:35 Wednesday morning.
One of the first on scene saw several individuals as they were fleeing in a vehicle. He followed and tried to catch up to them to take them into custody.
But that officer ended up losing control a few blocks away on Cabot Boulevard, crashing into and shearing off a fire hydrant. The impact flooded the street and sent water spewing 30 feet into the air. The airbag of the police Explorer deployed, and the officer reported on the radio that he was bleeding from his head. The mangled SUV had to be pulled out of a ditch with an excavator before it could be towed away.
The officer's okay. He did sustain moderate injuries and received treatment at a local hospital and has since been released and is at home and expected to make a full recovery.
Back at the warehouse, police searched the premises but found no intruders inside. They found evidence that marijuana was being grown illegally and that the would-be burglars left empty-handed. I've learned Hayward police received a burglar alarm from this business at 3 in the morning, but perhaps not unsurprisingly, those connected to this place were uncooperative with police. A nearby tenant at a neighboring business told me off camera those involved in the grove managed to blend in, which Hayward police officer Cassandra Favell says isn't surprising.
It's obviously bigger commercial buildings where you can hold and grow a lot of plants and oftentimes go undetected other than the smell or heightened PG&E bills.
Now, this investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information is asked to contact Hayward Police. Live in Hayward, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
San Francisco police have reopened a case from 2023 where a Chinese woman died after reportedly being pushed to the ground. KTVU's Christian Captain joins us now in the city. And Christian, police are giving this a second look after that same person initially suspected last year was arrested last week for allegedly assaulting another Asian woman.
Yeah, that's right. That woman now in jail facing charges for allegedly assaulting a 71-year-old woman. Now police are taking a second look at that previous case. San Francisco police arrested 43-year-old Thea Hopkins last week for allegedly assaulting a 71-year-old Chinese woman. Now police are taking a second look at another incident she was reportedly involved in July of 2023, where Hopkins was investigated after 63-year-old Yanfeng Wu was pushed to the ground in the Bayview district and later died. A police investigation at the time determined the incident was an accident. Investigators have released a statement reading in part, quote, "The SFPD is re-examining the evidence in the July 3 case on 3rd Street and Egbert Avenue after receiving new evidence. We are not disclosing what the evidence is." The attorney defending Hopkins in the recent assault case says she hasn't seen any evidence connected to the 2023 death, but says they need to be looked at as separate incidents.
There's nothing about these new allegations and charges that change the fact that the district attorney and the police officially deemed the 2023 incident as an accident.
Civil rights attorney and spokesperson for the Asian Justice Movement, Charles Jung, says the community lost some faith in the police following last year's case. The group says that incident was caught on camera and are asking for that video to be released. In their statement, police said, quote, "The SFPD does not release evidence, video or otherwise, in open cases because it could jeopardize the investigation." Jung is encouraging police to investigate the two cases as part of a pattern of behavior and see if these were possible hate crimes.
Here, the suspect, reportedly pushed or attacked two elderly Asian women within blocks of one another.
At this point, Hopkins is still in custody for the assault last week. No word on if or when police would arrest Hopkins for the July incident. As for the district attorney, whether or not the district attorney would charge Hopkins for that earlier death, that also has not yet been determined. We're live in San Francisco. Christian Captain, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, Christian, thank you for that. New at 10, a California bill recently signed by Governor Gavin Newsom into law allows police departments across the state to release information about why officers were fired. Now, departments can voluntarily release that information to the public without a records request. KTVU's LaMonica Peters live now in San Jose after speaking with a state senator about why she authored the bill. LaMonica.
State Senator Aisha Wahab says she authored Senate Bill 400 after hearing of multiple police misconduct incidents across the Bay Area. She says she hopes the bill helps to rebuild trust between the community and police.
Bad actors will be fired and terminated, and announcements will be made, and the public has full transparency of the incident.
State Senator Aisha Wahab says after talks with advocates and constituents in San Jose, she authored Senate Bill 400. It was signed by Governor Newsom late last month to clarify that police departments can inform the public about why a police officer was fired.
The officer goes through their entire due process, has their union rep defending them and much more. And when wrongdoing is found and termination is approved, then the police department can be very proactive and let the public know. And that was the whole point of this bill.
In 2022, ex-San Jose police officer Matthew Dominguez was arrested after being suspected of masturbating while responding to a call. He was later fired and placed on a decertification list, which could stop him from joining another police department in California.
The effort is not only to reform a lot of these institutionalized departments, but it's also to hold individuals accountable, right? Both, people in law enforcement, but also those that are in the public committing wrong acts.
Last December, San Jose police released a new strategic plan hoping to rebuild trust with the community, saying in part, this proactive approach not only enhances public confidence in law enforcement, but also establishes a foundation of mutual respect, understanding, and shared responsibility.
It's not just San Jose, it's the entire state of California. Every single police agency should, and many actually do want to increase transparency.
Senate bill documents actually show that multiple agencies supported SB 400, including the San Jose Police Department. It was a bipartisan effort, and again, Wahab says she believes that this bill will help rebuild trust between police and the communities that they serve. Julie?
All right, LaMonica Peters live tonight in San Jose. LaMonica, thank you.
Thanks for watching KTVU Crime Files. See you next time.